what I want to talk about now is consumer and producer surplus. And what you need to do is know these two formulas. Your consumer surplus is going to be the integral from 0 to x naught of your demand function minus your p naught. And your producer surplus is going to be the integral from 0 to x naught of p naught minus your s of x. Okay? Now, what's going to happen is you're just going to need to identify your x naught p naught, and you're simply just going to plug it into these formulas. So what we're going to do is in this video, we're going to do numbers 1 and 2. Then join me in the next video, and we'll talk about how to do it in market equilibrium. All right? But let's take a look here at number 1. For number 1, it says find the consumer surplus at the price level of $10 if d of x is 25 minus the square root of x. This $10, this is your p naught. That is that p naught. So that means that we have, I'm looking for consumer surplus. We have p naught. We have our demand function. The only thing that we need to find is x naught. And the way you're going to find x naught is you're going to plug 10. You're going to set this, the 25 minus square root of x, you're going to set this equal to 10 and then solve for x. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is you take the 25 minus square root of x and you're going to set it equal to your p naught in order to find your x naught, which is equal to 10. So, doing a little bit of algebra, I'm going to move this over to this side and the 10 over to the left. I have 15 is equal to the square root of x, and so I'm going to square both sides, and so let's go ahead and pull out our calculator. And so squaring both sides, I'm going to have the 15 squared is going to be 225. So 225 is your x naught. And now that you have your p naught, your d, and your x naught, let's go ahead and put this in. So our consumer surplus is going to be the integral from 0 to 225 of my demand function, 25 minus square root of x, minus my p naught, and my p naught was 10. So we can go ahead and put this into our calculator. So remember how you went over to the math and then your FNINT, your integral. And we're going to take the integral from 0 to 225 of 25 minus the square root of x, and then minus 10 with respect to x. And what we get is, our calculator finally decides to work. Go through it, 1,125 is equal to 1,125. So that's going to be for number 1. For number 2, what I want to do is now I want to find the producer surplus for this equation with a p naught of 30. Okay, so p naught is 30, so I have my p naught. You have your supply equation, your s of x, and once again, the only thing you need to find is x naught. And the way you find that x naught is by setting your function equal to 30 and then solve for x. So that's what we're going to do is find our x naught. And so we set our e to the 0.1x plus 10. And we're going to set that equal to 30. That means that e to the 0.1x is equal to 20. How did I get rid of e's? Well, it's by taking the natural log of each side. So taking the natural log of each side, I have that 0.1x is equal to the natural log of 20. Therefore, x is simply the natural log of 20 over 0.1, which, by the way, whenever you divide by 0.1, that's the same thing as multiplying by 10. So you'd have 10 times the natural log of 20. All right, so now that I have my x naught, now that I have that x naught, to find our producer surplus, we're just going to plug it into this formula. So our producer surplus is going to be the integral from 0 to 10 natural log of 20 of my p naught, and my p naught that was given to be 30, minus your s of x, and so your entire s of x, your function, was e to the 0.1x plus 10 dx. I want you to notice something. Notice how I put parentheses around my function. You're not just minusing the e, you're minusing that entire function. So just be careful with that. Let's go ahead and put this into our calculator. So going over back to math and down to FNINT, we're going to take the integral from 0 to 10 natural log of 20, and we're going to do it of 30 minus our function. So going over to our function, we're going to go 30 minus, and then e to the 0.1x plus 10. Making sure all of that's in parentheses. You're doing that with respect to x. And after that, you press enter, and it comes out to 409.15. Okay? So go ahead, join me in the next video, and what we're going to do is we're going to answer number 3 in the next video, and figure out how am I going to find both the producer and the consumer surplus at market equilibrium.